Nerds International proudly presents.
So, listeners, I've been ill for the last week, and then last night I felt better, and I decided to ruin it all by going out drinking. So if I sound, see, I've already fucking up. If I sound like terrible, then you know why.
So apologies for that.
But
Yeah, I'm rough. This is the rough pod.
Welcome to the 3T RPG podcast. My name is Harrison Hunt, and with me is Nick Lamley.
Hello.
Today we are doing a good podcast, hopefully.
Do a good pod.
First of all, we got the feedback side. We got What You Saying, where we talk about what we've been playing, and the main subject is going to be Wiseguys. Ooh. And then we've got Jim Bim Salabim, followed by the name game, and then we got electro letters.
Yeah.
So if you want features, we got them, baby.
If you want creatures, we ain't got them.
We haven't, but we're working on it.
Sorry.
We're trying to get one,
Yeah.
just a little one. All right, let's get on. Let's get on with some feedback.
The feedback side. The feedback side. Yes, bitch. The feedback side. It's the feedback section. Yeah, we take your comments and read them out. Yeah, feedback, bitch.
So the first bit of feedback, I actually can't remember who it came in from. I was desperately trying to search for it, and I know I saw it. But I think they might have deleted their comment. But they said Monty Hall, because I was talking about last time what a Monty Hall GM is and what that means in a game. And I thought he was like an old designer of D&D because I've heard the name so much around old D&D.
Yeah.
He's not. He's a game show host of
right.
Let's Make a Deal. An American game show, not a game designer. So
No, not to be mistaken.
I think on that show, I've never seen the show, but I think you get like a big load of shit.
Yeah, and people used to dress up for it and everything, apparently.
Right, so there you go. So that's why
Monty Hall.
That's why that means that, yeah. But that is it for feedback. It was just me getting something massively wrong. But as I always say, don't you ever correct us.
Because we know we're wrong.
All the time,
We
exactly.
just like
don't
doing it.
You just rub it in, and it makes me sad.
It's not a fact pod.
Exactly.
God.
We should be called the wrong podcast. Oh my god.
Oh my God.
Jesus. All right, we're gonna get on with some what you've been slaying.
Yeah.
And it's one of these. Oi, yeah? What you slaying?
Right. So first up, let's talk about our ongoing D&D game.
Let's.
So we're playing a game where the heroes have come into possession of a disused old zoo and have to populate it with monsters. And so far, it's going pretty well. 'Cause
It is.
it's basically like we're doing like a TV show kind of sitcom type format where each episode is like a self-contained thing regarding each monster. And so far, they've done an owlbear,
Oh, yeah.
a zombie bear. I think we might have spoke about that in the last episode.
Yeah.
But so you got an owlbear, a zombie bear, a kobold boss, and 2 kobolds, which they turned into a dancing show.
Production, yeah, that's right.
And in the last episode, they were going after a skeleton, and the episode title was Bones Malone and the Spooky Boys.
And we managed to get Bones Malone and
A
two
couple of
spooky boys.
2 spooky boys. So essentially, yeah, the plot of this particular episode was that the guys already know this gangster called Tommy Morosa.
Yeah.
And the gangster came to them asking them for help. And in Baldur's Gate, these new gangsters have started turning up, and they're like, they're a gang of skeletons with Tommy crossbows. Yes.
Yeah, Tommy Crossbows.
And essentially these guys had to find out where they were operating from, and in order to do that, they had to do a quest for this woman who owned a pub by the docks. And she was like, well, my food here is shit, and nobody's buying it because this new guy's opened up a shop down the road called Gabe's Fine Foods.
Gabe's Fine Foods.
And they had to go and rob it, but they found out that Gabe was one of the nicest people in
ever
the world.
known. Yeah, honest Gabe was he was like, well, guys, you know, if you're going to rob me, then that's down to you, but, you know, and we were just like, why?
They were like, listen, I won't hold a grudge against you if you have to rob me.
Tear in his eye, like, it was excruciating, and like Sean, who often plays quite a good character, he was having a really tough time.
I liked it when his character angrily said, "Does your kindness know no bounds?"
Yeah,
Yeah, because it was like I just set up this dilemma as like one of the funniest things in the planet, because all it was is they're scoping out the place during the day, and then one of them decides to go in to see what security's like on the inside, and then they met him, and he was just so nice. And I can't remember how it came up, but they were talking, and the guy was like, "Well, between this and my charity work," and everyone was like, "Oh no!"
Yeah. Why don't you sit down and warm up with a nice cinnamon coffee? And it's just like, oh my god, this is. So in the end, we ended up
buying the stuff from him.
Yeah, and
hiring
employing him. I don't think he wanted to change career or be relocated, but after a tough negotiation.
Yeah, because Baldur's Gate is such a horrible place.
Run by a demon.
So he essentially wanted to put a little drop of light in that darkness.
In there. Yeah, that's right, exactly.
And that's why he opened that bakery. But these guys kind of shut him down and have relocated him to the zoo. So now you've got a lovely food establishment there.
Yep.
And with that done, the woman at the pub could give you guys the location of where she knows of Bones Malone.
Yeah.
And it was this old gambling place called the Crooked Dagger, and the guys went up there and see him gambling in this private den. And the plan that you guys came up with was brilliant. Because Nick basically said, right, I'll go out the front, I'll take the wagon round, and you just push him out the window.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And then we'll drive off. But the trouble is that, Nick's plan was to pretend to be his worst enemy, Tommy Morosa, and say, "Oh God, Tommy Morosa's out here."
Oh yeah, because the rest of the party were like looking out the window going, "Oh my God, is that Tommy Morosa?" And then you just hear someone go, "Yeah,
yeah, it's me," and it was Nick's character. Yeah, what happened though? Because I think big boss type gangsters, they delegate. They don't put themselves in danger.
Yeah, so what did he do?
He sent two of the spooky boys.
His underlings, that's it. And they
window.
come running over to the window instead of Bones Malone himself.
But what happened was, in the gambling den, it was pretty cool because you had a fight going on upstairs between Bones Malone and his minions, and they were trying to, knock him out. And then down below, Nick, the one of the people they pushed out the window, you were fighting him downstairs. He was on top of the wagon trying to shoot through it while Nick was whacking upwards.
with my hand axe, yeah.
It was really cool. But yeah, what happened was, in the end, Sean's character, he flipped a table over and it sort of crushes Bones Malone.
Yeah.
And then fucking Norman Fiend, one of the characters, he blasted with an Eldritch Blast. And I shit you not, but Bones Malone was on 1 HP. And then he was just like, "All right, guys, I'll come with you. But I will tear out your innards one day.
One day, I'm not going to forget this."
He's like this really aggressive skeleton. So they put him in the 18s and over area.
Yeah, so we're making an area of the so we got some customer feedback, didn't we? We did a bit of market research, and it came back that some of the what was it that was really the reanimated zombie bear was a bit too scary for children.
Yeah,
so we're going to make an over 18s exhibit area.
Which currently there's only the bear and these like really angry skeletons in striped suits
that are swearing revenge anyone that goes near them.
You better keep this cage tight, boys, or I'm gonna eat you. I'm gonna eat your mother too.
Yeah.
Well, that whole adventure was inspired by a single image, and it was a meme because I don't know where this fucking image came from.
Spooktober, I recken.
Probably.
So, when Reddit explodes with spooky memes on the run up to Halloween, it's gotta be, innit?
It has to be, yeah. And all it is like three skeletons in pinstripe suits with Tommy guns bursting through a door, and like the onlookers are like, "Ah!" with like holding their hands up in the air. And it's a really funny image, but somebody captioned it and just said Bones Malone and the Spooky Boys, and then in like air quotes, "Rattle 'em, boys."
Rattle 'em, boys. That was his line, wasn't it? It was so good. Rattle 'em, boys.
And he kept on saying that. But yeah, it was
I liked it when he was laughing. When we was like kind of trying to scope out the we tried to gamble, didn't we? Went upstairs and sat at a table and got absolutely spanked instantly. But when we was checking him out, he was killing me because when he was just taking a piss out of everybody and laughing, it was just his jawbone rattling like with like a cigar hanging out the side.
It was also like from that meme, the one I just want to blow up and then act like I don't know nobody, and he does that skeleton laugh.
Skeleton laugh.
Man, I'm enjoying the D&D game a lot, man.
It's fun as hell
because it's just the monster collecting thing is quite fun because you have to think cleverly in how you're going to damage the enemies.
Every time. It's not because like the whole premise of D&D is big adventure, big characters, right? Powerful battles, all this kind of stuff, which is great. But when you've constantly got this kind of niggling thought at the back of your head that's reminding you these need to come alive, so it's not a case of killing them with all your best moves. It's a case of trying to get them down to 0 HP and then actually capture them and transport them back to the fucking zoo.
Exactly, and the thing
makes it a lot more trickier.
If you want to go for a knockout blow, you can hit them with the side of your sword, but it does half damage.
Yeah.
And so But the way to knock someone out in D&D is the blow that takes them over the threshold of 0 HP has to be a knockout blow, not lethal damage.
Not lethal, so you have to declare it prior.
Yeah. So the thing is like what the guys are doing at the moment is doing a few real hits at the beginning to try and take a bit off.
That's
and
it.
And then going, right, I'm hitting him with the side of my axe or the handle or whatever.
Getting the bag out, whatever.
Yeah. Like, because in one of the episodes they put a kobold into a bag and then obviously forgot to take his knife away. He was still alive. He was on like 2 HP. He just cut through the bag and jumped out again.
And then we got him back in the bag, but then because of the hole, he ends up wearing a bag. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. It's a weird campaign.
But what I like about it is it's like, you know, it's our first kind of current group in playing D&D. But what you've done is you've put a cool twist on it where it's not just your standard D&D high adventure game. It's got this kind of, you know, office feel to it, and then you've got this kind of extra thing where, you know, you're recruiting, you've got business plans going on, you're trying to capture big monsters and not kill them. It's fantastic. It's a great game.
I think hopefully it plays to the strengths of D&D because, like I said, the monsters are fucking cool.
Oh, the adventuring still feels totally like adventuring.
Yeah,
it really does.
The thing is about D&D as well is it often separates adventures and downtime. And the thing about downtime and running a business is they go hand in hand.
Yep.
So a lot of times when these guys get back to town, not all of them, but like most of them will be like, right, I want to do this to help out the deal. I want to do that. You know, like doing the market research, or somebody was making flyers one time and you brewed a beer to try and...
That's right, yeah, brewed up some beer to get to drum up kind of business. I went out and, because we still got no staff, the problem is we've got you know, the attractions are building up, which is fantastic, but we've not... we shored up the cages, so they're a little bit more secure now, but we literally have we have the head of HR, because there is no one else. Yeah. And that's it. That's the only staff we got. Oh, and Honest Gabe, obviously.
Yeah, so this is the thing they were talking about last time about recruiting new staff like accountants and things
no one's
like
tearing the shit up either.
It's like it's a mess in there.
It's a mess, mate. Yeah. But it's fun. It's really good fun.
Yeah, it is awesome. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. But yeah, that's D&D.
Yeah.
A couple of things I wanted to talk about as well, some like products that I've got recently. Savage Tokusatsu.
Oh,
I think you've seen this already.
It came.
So, for those not in the know, Tokusatsu is like, you know, giant monsters in rubber suits like Godzilla and Power Rangers.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. Things like this.
What was that great game you used to play when it was the two, you'd be creatures beating each other up in a city? Oh, it was so good. It was on the SNES.
King of Monsters.
Yeah, that was a great game. I loved that.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of that genre. And I tell you what, when I got like the beta version of this before there was any artwork, right? And I thought, man, this sounds good. You can like get a mech and you can all form together to make a big one, like fucking Voltron.
Yeah.
You can fight giant monsters. You can like make custom weapons, so they're all like trademark weapons to each character. It sounds amazing. But you look at the artwork and the presentation, and it's such a turn off. I know that's really shallow.
It's just a bit cutesy, isn't it?
It looks like fucking Steven's Universe, man.
Yeah.
It's awful. I mean, and also at the same time, I recently got Robotech for Savage Worlds, and the artwork is so faithful to the fucking genre.
Right.
They should have done it, this Tokusatsu thing in an anime style.
Yeah.
The rules look amazing, but the artwork is so
I can't
bad.
really define the artwork. Yeah, I know what you mean.
It looks like a modern kids' cartoon.
It's very colourful and nothing's too scary.
You know what might have been cool? Yeah, exactly.
Nothing's really scary looking. It's all quite kind of cartoony, but in a... It's not even a Dragon Ball Z-esque, really. It's
well, and there's one enemy in there. There's one enemy in there that's the size of a city, and you just can't tell. It's like it's
that one.
Yeah. And functionally, it's pretty bad. So I don't know. I don't know. It's really put me off, and the fact that I had to wait a year and a half for it as well. Like my hype for the game is completely dead.
Mate. Yeah, for 98 pages. What are they up to?
I know.
Well, I've got good news.
Go on.
I secured my fucking Savage Worlds box set.
Oh my god,
it's sorted.
I'm so proud of you.
I'm so proud, and
it's on its way.
And I would like to say a massive thank you to Pinnacle. They were very understanding, and were fantastic.
Yeah, because they could have just told you to do one.
To fuck off, basically. Good for them. Yeah, and to be fair, there was a couple of times when I missed my appointment because I was late from work, and I felt like a right dick. But yeah, so thank you very much, Pinnacle. You've been fantastic, and it's on the way now. It's all paid for, and I'm waiting for me Kickstarter.
Very good. That's gonna be awesome. Maybe we should re-review it when it comes.
Nick's version.
It's very similar.
I'll say that till I open the box up and just a big turd in it, and it's like, thanks for the fuck around, Nick.
Yeah. Thanks for wasting my time.
Shit,
asshole.
sorry, but no,
So-
yes, I'm looking forward to that.
One of the things we purchased recently as well was the old dice tower,
Oh my god!
and I have to say, like,
Oh my god!
This on the web.
what the fuck? Siri's having a go.
What's she getting involved
she wants
for?
in.
What's she getting involved
So
for?
yeah, we bought a dice tower. I will include a link in the show notes because
You might have seen some of the pictures of it because it's been in the background of some of our photos we've been putting on
absolutely.
recently.
And I tell you what, it's such a nice thing to have at a table.
It's brilliant.
I know it's dumb, but like, yeah, it was £16 from this woman who 3D prints them, and it's so much fun, especially because when you put it in there, it makes a really pleasing sound.
Oh, yeah.
People on the other side of the table keep on trying to chuck them
Throw
in
it
because they
from
can't
distance
reach.
and they bounce off the edge.
My brother
Oh,
did it
mate.
maybe like 5 times in the last game. Didn't land a single one. So yeah, but I really enjoy using it. It's so much fun.
It's so funny because I saw pictures of them, and obviously, generally, dice towers are a little bit on the expensive side for what I thought they were. Until I've actually got my hands on one, I'll tell you what, it's fantastic. It's a really fun tool, and it just makes it just I don't know. You don't realise you need one until you get one, and
Yeah.
then you're like, well, how have I not lived without this?
Because it makes the action of rolling just fun again.
Yeah, dice
The funny
trays are
thing is,
nice.
We have a rule though, if it lands on the roof, because we got one of those little castle type dice towers.
That's
if
it,
it lands
yeah.
on the roof and it doesn't go down the stairs, it doesn't count.
No.
And a couple of times people have got they put it on the roof and it's like 20, and I'm like, no, it's on the
Sorry,
roof.
dude.
Put it down the stairs. It goes down the stairs and it comes out the other end. 1.
Oh well, so that's
Oh,
how
well.
it goes. Or other times we've had it, which has been quite weird. About 3 times, it's been like it's been a bad roll, so it's landed on the top of the tower, and it's like, I don't know, 14. Put it down the tower, and it's rolled back out as a 14 again. It's like,
Yeah, it's just
how?
stayed
It
upright.
knew.
It floated down.
It's brilliant, and it can fit. We put it through its paces when we first got it, seeing how many dice we could get through it. And,
Oh, yeah, I forgot
you can
about
get a D2 down there, the book one. You can get most sizes up to the. I think the hit marker dice goes down there. Your
Yeah.
oversized hit
a
marker.
D24 will fit, but D30 won't.
No.
And James, it was really funny because James, one of our players, he put a D24 down and it got stuck halfway down, and the panic on his face because he was suddenly faced with the fact that he might have to spend the night fishing it out of there. And we gave it a shake and it went down there, but
was fun.
his eyes went wide. He was like,
Oh my god! I broke it. We was talking about actually getting a little bit of card to put around the back of it, so you can go for the swish.
oh yeah, like a basketball
bounce
thing.
off the backboard, yeah. But no, for the price especially, and it's really nice, 3D plastic rendered, really cool. Get yourself one.
Yeah,
brilliant.
I'll put a
Brilliant.
link,
thing.
to this lady's
Yeah,
shop in
do
the description because she sells a bunch of this type of stuff and it's £16 and they're pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, for the price, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and I was going to talk briefly about Citadel contrast paints.
Ooh,
but
yeah.
we don't really talk about crafting on this.
We should do a pod about that.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll do an episode about painting.
But a lot of people, there's controversy around it because it's like it makes the act of painting a lot easier, and all these guys that have been doing it for years and years, they've put all this effort in. Suddenly, there's an easy way out.
Well, I get that.
But
my biggest disappointment in Games Workshop world when I was a kid was I was absolutely bowled over by the detail of these miniatures and stuff, and I thought they're absolutely fantastic. You see them painted professionally, they look absolutely amazing. And you go in there when you're a kid and you're like, can I get the painted ones? Because I'm not very good at that. And they're like, no, but you can come to our paint classes if you like. And then you go there and I don't know,
stinks of BO.
Stinks of BO. They're like, look at this idiot, you can't even do an undercoat. And it completely turned me off. And then I went away and I never painted another mini. And I was devastated because I would have loved to be able to paint them okay, just to be able to use
That's
them.
The thing. It never quite turns out like
Good.
not
It's all
like the ones in the
shite.
shop.
Yeah, exactly.
But the guy in our local shop, basically, he showed me a bunch of minis that he painted just with contrast paint. They look fucking awesome. So I got a couple of pots, and it obviously it's not going to be as high quality as like somebody's professional.
But if you're not
guys
looking for that,
yeah, if you just want a pretty good fucking paint job, it does it, and it does it so easily.
so easily
But
as well.
the only thing is, it takes on a bit of the base coat colour with it. So ideally, you want to put like a grey or a white base coat on it, and then use that. So, but if you, let's say for example, if you do blue and then you put brown on top of it, you're gonna have a bluey brown.
Yeah.
But I painted.
It's like a wash, isn't it, or something?
It is like a wash, and the
Skeletons.
owlbear that I did, that was entirely using contrast paint.
Oh
And
really?
Yeah, it was.
That's a really good job. And the skeletons that you did you did like 5 in an hour or whatever.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Do you know what? Because they were, if I remember right, weren't they just like white before?
Yeah, they were white.
Yeah.
It was this colour.
That's
and
right, yeah. And look
which
at the
is-
difference for a quick, I mean, basically what we're saying is, pros stick to what you're good at, you know, and we appreciate the work you put in, and it's fantastic. But if you can get a bit of paint that makes us amateurs, us lowly, non-paintable people, a little bit better and make their minis look a bit greater, then why not?
Exactly. And the cool thing is they're a little bit more expensive, but the thing is when you get them home, you won't have that feeling of, oh shit, I can't actually paint. You might go, wow, this looks pretty good considering.
Or you do like I do. I've just blew 30 quid on paints and I still can't paint. It's a fucking nightmare.
That's the problem is the cost, I guess. But that's it. Citadel contrast paints. I would say pick them up. Yeah, they're
We're
pretty
getting some
fucking
minis
awesome.
again now. I'm going to start because I always thought you could only buy like, you know, the lead minis that need glue in. They cost a fortune. There's a lot of assembling that comes with it. Whereas you've been getting a lot of these plastic D&D board game ones, and they're spot on and so much cheaper.
And Reaper ones as well.
Reaper
you
ones,
can find them super cheap on eBay. That
EB.
that Owlbear one, that was £3,
Wow,
I think,
yeah.
and that was with postage. I was like, fucking
That's
hell
cheap
yeah.
as hell. That's what I need to get. I'm going to start building up a collection of cool minis now. That's my next thing I want to get into.
Just buy some board games, man. It's the
Yeah,
best way.
no, I will do. Perfect.
But let's do a main subject.
Oh
shall
yeah, I
we?
forgot about that. That's what this podcast is about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, Eric.
Right, we're going to review Wiseguys. Let's do it.
Main. Subject. Magic. Main. Subject. Tokyo. Main. Subject.
It's the mid-90s. The bosses from the 5 families, as well as the Chicago outfit, are behind bars. The commission has gone silent. Rooted and leaderless, the Godfathers have lost their grip on Las Vegas. A new breed of dons has risen from the ashes of a lost war against the Justice Department to rule over Las Vegas. These self-proclaimed bosses work to reclaim what's been lost to the other crime syndicates and corporations that now own the city. And that's Wiseguys, ladies and gentlemen. This game is incredible.
Yeah.
It's a new setting for Savage Worlds. Well, the physical edition has just come out, and it's probably, like, I would say, even though it's a third-party product, the flagship setting for Savage Worlds Adventure Edition. Mm-hmm. And how did they do it? Well, let's dive in and find out, because this game is well worth a look at.
Oh yeah.
Just before we do, a couple of caveats to this review that we're about to do. We are mates with the writer, and we did playtest it. And also we worked on a supplement for the game.
So it's a completely impartial, unbiased.
Oh yes. So yeah, just bear that in mind. But realistically, if there is something in the book that we don't like, we are going to say it.
Yeah, but we might get a little bit gushy.
Yes.
But truth be told, we'll try and keep it honest because it's fucking great.
Yeah, it is great enough. So, and the thing is, yeah, if there's something we don't like in there, we're going to say.
Yeah.
So just bear that in mind.
Yeah.
And sorry, Eric. So the intro of the book is really quite cool. They've got these kind of like point of view characters that a lot of the book is written from, and they kind of crop up. But the whole intro is written by an old gangster called Marco, right? And it's like an in-universe character. And he talks about the commission trial, the one that led to the 5 families of Chicago and New York gangs. That it was this trial where a lot of them got convicted, right? And it was, but people will know this from the film Donnie Brasco. It was that trial, right?
Oh, that whole thing, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Great
So,
film.
and that ended up with, as the back of the cover said, it being sort of leaderless. That people are running around like headless chickens, and it ended up with the Italian mafia, trying their luck in Nevada.
Yeah.
Some of these gangs work out, some of them don't, but. It's the 90s now, it's Vegas, and Vegas is run by, like, cartels and Chinese tongs, so La Cosa Nostra perseveres and is trying to, like, make a name for themselves in Vegas. And for those that don't know, La Cosa Nostra, I think it means this thing of ours, I think.
Is that what the Costa Nostra stands for?
Yeah, and it's just the kind of the name of the gang, and essentially in the kind of fiction, I don't know if this is real or not, but in Wiseguys, after having moved to Vegas and trying to try their luck there, they've started recruiting associates, which is mainly what you play in Wiseguys.
Yeah.
Who are like the lowest rank, but essentially it's fun to play on that rank.
Yeah, totally.
And that's basically the backstory of it. It's the 90s, it's Vegas. You are part of the Italian mafia and your associates, and it's pretty awesome.
for power.
But yeah, after this old gangster character has his say, you get a little bit from this bloke called Frank Gentry. He's a detective.
Yeah.
And this has also got like loads of info about the setting in there too, like as a really, really fucking cool intro. And he talks about like the different types of law enforcement in Vegas and how they operate and things like this. And for example, the lowest one, which is the LVMPD, which is run by Clark County Sheriff Chip Conway. And this is the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. And basically, everyone loves this guy Chip, right? Because he trusts people to keep the peace and get shit done. And Frank, this in-universe character, says that means working with the odd criminal organisation once in a while. And the next part is all about, you know, as I said, the cops and how they operate. And for example, it talks about the pecking order. And Frank tells us that the Metro Police Department is the lowest and how they'll come out for a busted window or a nicked handbag. They're street level guys. And they're all fresh-faced and new. And as a result, you know, they won't act how, like, the movie cops do.
Yeah.
And they take their job really seriously. But on the other end of the spectrum, you've got the LVMPD Criminal Investigations Division, and they can be crooked. And like Frank, for example, he says like, don't get caught at a scene of the crime because these old detectives, they know the system, and as a result, what they'll do is they'll help you out. Maybe a bit of evidence will go missing if you slip them the right amount of money. Yeah. You know, things like this. And as a sort of introduction and a setup for the fucking book, it's so good. Because sorry, I'm that's rustling my papers there. But if your players read this, they instantly know the kind of things that Wiseguys would. Yeah. Because the thing is, it's a couple of pages. You read through it and you go, okay, now I know how the police operate. Because Wiseguys, realistically, they would have been doing this for years. They know all the little tricks, and 2 pages and that's all out the way.
Yeah.
You know everything.
Primer, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep, it gives you the history and about all the police and stuff. It's awesome. Really, really good. And there's plenty more tips and tidbits in this area too, like info on wiretaps, why and when they occur, all the different cop departments. But as I said, it's just cool because it gets you up to speed. But let's go on to the first chapter of the book. And you're going to like this. This is The Way of the Wise Guy. And this part is all about the tropes and themes of the genre and how a wise guy lives his life, kind of thing. And I think this is like essential reading for GMs and players because there's so many little things I didn't even realise. And like, we've play tested the damn game.
Yeah.
And as I was reading it, I was like, oh, that's pretty awesome. So many of the ways of life are like unwritten rules, like a sort of lifestyle that a wise guy has. For example, wise guys love their mums. You know, you've seen this in like movies, right?
Yeah.
They love their mums, and making fun of someone's mum can actually get you killed.
Yeah.
Like, you don't do it. You just don't.
Yeah.
And there's another little trope called wise guys don't make reservations. So what it is when a wise guy or his wife or his associates or whatever go out for a meal, they don't make reservations. And what they do is they'll go up to the front, make up a fake name, and when it's apparent that it's not on the list, they'll make a fuss until they get a table. That's how they operate.
Done.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
What do you mean I ain't on the list? That's me there.
Bobby Davro.
I'm in town doing a few gigs. Anyway, another one that's pretty cool is the Wise Guys and Money section, right?
Yeah.
And it talks about how a wise guy, right? They don't have bank accounts. They keep all their money in cash. And it's always in big wads in their pockets,
rolled
right?
up in circles or whatever. Yeah.
And everything that they have, from houses to cars to businesses, they're all in someone else's name.
Yeah.
So that if they get taken by the
They've
cops,
got no assets whatsoever.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it.
And
Perfect.
that's super fucking
So cool. You don't think about things like that. So even that's why a lot of the time, you know, in the films that when they do get nicked by the police, they're just laughing because they know that they're not. They've got no evidence against them or whatever.
I remember seeing it with a British gangster, and it was on that program 24 Hours in Police Custody.
Oh, it's cracking. Yeah.
Really good program.
Yeah.
And he'd gone on holiday to Spain, so they knew he was
Costa
gonna come
del
back.
Crime, of course.
Yeah, and he was coming back through Gatwick Airport. And when they nicked him, they were like, "So what did you do for a living then, sir?" And he's like, "Unemployed." And they're like,
Yeah,
then they search him, and he's got like $8,000 in his
Cash
pocket.
on him. Yeah. Pulling out of his Gucci wallet, like.
It actually was a Gucci wallet,
Of course
believe
it
it
was.
or not.
Yeah.
So another couple of these tropes that I'll go through because I think they're pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's obviously show no weakness. Like, that's another wise guy's unwritten rule.
Of course,
You know,
yeah.
You don't show any weakness because it's just not the done thing
No.
in such a macho
Can't lose
environment.
face, can you? Yeah.
And they're really patriotic as well. And the thing is the reason they love America, the book puts it, that there's only in America could they get away with
With this
amount
kind of
stuff.
shit.
So they
Yeah,
love
exactly.
it. They
Yeah,
love
that's
it.
them living the American dream.
Yeah, and there's so much more, and it's a really cool part of the book. But,
It is.
In the tropes and themes, right? These are more like, well, they're tropes and themes.
Yeah.
And the anti-heroes versus villains one. So you avoid normal people, right? Because in the films and that, you root for the gangsters, and to keep it that way in this game, it's kind of like the antagonists are people worse than you. You only go after like other gangsters or like really, really corrupt organizations or whatever, but you don't really just go, although you're like criminals, you don't just go out robbing everyone you see.
No,
in the
yeah,
street.
there's still honour amongst thieves, if you like. It's like that kind of, it's the same thing, no women, no kids get hurt and stuff. That's
Right.
often like a rule with gangsters, isn't it? And they still got this kind of respect and kind of honour, even though it's obviously all criminal activities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another one that is everybody be cool, and it's the gangsters stand out by being cool. So this could be like a cosmetic thing, like you always wear a loud suit no matter where you go, which
Got sunglasses on permanently. Yeah.
It's one of the tropes, like that they always wear suits. Their
course they do.
uniforms are suits.
Yeah.
So you always stand out because you might have big hair, loads of jewellery.
And a pinstripe, yeah.
And a pinstripe, or just a loud voice, whatever.
Yeah, of course you do.
What's brilliant about this is because you're so cool, you stand out. The book has a sidebar that tells you what cool things are. So it's like, it'll give you like the names of fast cars, good watches. It's just like, there's a box that just says, what is cool? And it's just got a big list of stuff.
That's it, yeah.
But I guess that's helpful because it's the 90s, you know what I mean?
Well, this is it, exactly. If you're a little bit younger and pick up this game, you might not know about the 90s.
There you go. And one of the other tropes and themes is nowhere else to go. And basically, if you leave Vegas or the campaign area that you're playing in, you leave the campaign.
Right.
So the thing is, if you've done a runner and you've gone, God, I need to escape. There's too much beef here, and I'm going. That's it. That's your character
You're out of there.
exiting the game.
Yep.
And I think that's pretty cool.
That's fair play.
Because it means that the players have a vested interest in not being murder hobos, especially because they're anti-heroes versus villains, and then nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
'Cause if you fuck everything up so much that you have to leave, well, then your character's gone.
You blow it in Vegas, you've blown it.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And there's another sort of section about the decline of the old values, and it's pretty awesome because it talks about the old Vegas and the new, and
Right.
the new Vegas representing the future, where it's like, casinos with that are family friendly and things like this. Whereas like the old Vegas is like these slums still run by mobs, and it's like the casinos there are for gamblers, not for families, and that's where the gangsters operate, like in the old Vegas, where it's like, well, I guess they operate everywhere, but the point is that's
It's like all
that's their
shady.
hub.
It was all like shady and stuff before, and now it's going a bit more mainstream. Or
Exactly,
whatever. Yeah, I
and
gotcha.
so the old is like the old place is kind of more where they operate, and this sort of represents the decline of the old values
Got
as
ya.
well.
Yeah.
Hence why now the associates and people that aren't Italian are working for them, but on street level. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's kind of
Enterprise and all that kind of thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
But the next part is like it gives you a brief history on how things came to be, and it talks about prohibition,
cool.
post-prohibition,
Yeah.
and diversifying, things like this. And of course, it tells you all about the 5 families and the Donnie Brasco thing and how they came to fall and things like this.
Yeah.
And then of course we come to today. So it's like essentially what they talked about a little bit in the intro, but it fleshes it out properly. And then we go into gang hierarchy. And this is pretty interesting, and I think it's important to know. So at the top you've got the Don, right?
Yeah.
Or the boss, or whatever.
What?
And then his right-hand man, and I'm going to butcher these pronunciations, is called the consigliere.
Consigliere.
I think that's what it is. I don't know.
Consigliere.
But he's like the right-hand man, and
Like a lieutenant.
exactly. And beneath him you have an underboss, which
Yeah.
is usually the Don's son, and he's like being groomed to be like.
Like the apprentice
Yeah,
of
exactly.
the boss. Yeah, I gotcha.
And then beneath that you have the Capriogimi, who's the captain, and I'm so sorry for my.
Priogini.
They're like they
Got to put an accent on it.
Capriogimi.
There you go.
And they look after like 10 to 20 soldiers, you know, things like this.
Gang boss.
exactly.
Not a gang boss. It's like a gang boss within a.
Like an area manager.
That's it. That's the one. That's the team leader.
Yeah. He's a team leader. He's called Gareth.
Gareth, the team leader.
And then beneath that you've got associates, and
Yeah.
this is the PCs. So the PCs, like, they kind of they're the street level guys, and when they make money they kick it up to a soldier who's a made man, and that's like the made man is kind of an actual Italian descent gangster who is part of the family, as
That's
it
it.
were.
And when you become a made man, that's like when you're officially
you're officially part of the gang, and
Yeah.
that's why it's associates
Protected.
underneath. They're not like really part of the gang, but they are kind of.
Got
'Cause
business partners, aren't they?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
And we'll go more into what being a made man is a bit later, but it does give a sidebar as well if you don't want to play associates and you want to play other types of people, and it gives a little bit of advice on that, which I think is pretty interesting, because it says alternatively what you could do is have your rank in the game, because in Savage Worlds you go from novice, seasoned, heroic, whatever. It says you could have each rank of that be a different mob rank.
Ah, right.
But
okay.
the trouble with this is that if you go from associate to soldier and you have people working under you, suddenly it's just a game where all the PCs are separate, managing different teams of people.
Oh, yeah.
So you see what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
You could get promoted, but ideally, if you have a made man in your team, you want to have one, and he's looking after all the other players.
That's what makes it really fun. That's how we've played it. We had within our party, we had one made man, and he was the guy that he kicked it up, but we would work for him, and then he would kick it up to the underboss.
So all money that we got, we give to him, and then he'd give half to the boss,
and we get a bit of our payment after that. Exactly.
It was pretty awesome playing it that way as well, because he was the straight man, and we were acting like fucking idiots for the whole time. And there was a point where I remember. We have to tell this story because he had to go in to see the boss to deliver some bad news about how we fucked up a mission. And Eric, the GM, who also wrote the book, he allowed us to give one action to help him when he went in to see the boss. We couldn't go and see the boss. We're not high rank enough. So we were giving him advice, and we were giving him advice, and then suddenly he's like, okay, you can get a bonus on your roll because of that advice. And then somebody who was a stage magician gave him a smoke bomb to make a cool entrance because he thought that would help him. And what happens is Tommy, just like this proper like Italian gangster, he drops the smoke bomb on the floor and enters Looney John's room, in this big mansion. And the boss is like, what the hell are you doing? He's like, just wanted to make a big entrance, boss. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, about the mission. And it was so weird.
I can't even believe it here.
It was so weird.
It's so weird.
Yeah. But the next portion of the book talks about omerta, the code of silence that the Italian mobsters take. And it also addresses becoming a made man. The omerta thing, everyone knows what that is anyway. But the made man thing is like, basically you have to be grandfathered in, which means somebody has to vouch for you.
Okay, yep.
And you'll notice, if you remember going back again to Donnie Brasco, which is a pretty good film, that he has to be vouched in by Al Pacino. Is it Al Pacino?
God,
I can't fucking remember.
now. Yeah.
Anyway, Johnny Depp's character has to be grandfathered in, and he vouches for him. And unless you have skills the mafia needs, they have no need for you.
Right.
So first of all, someone has to vouch for you. Second of all, they have to do it for a good reason, because you have to have skills to do so.
You have to support the vouch. Yeah,
Exactly.
I see. Yep.
And you also have to have been involved in a murder as well. This way, the mafia know you're not an undercover
And they
cop.
got shit on you as well, I guess.
Yeah, okay, you know what? Probably. But the book then goes on to give you examples of the types of operation the mob is involved in. So you've got hijacking,
Yeah.
gambling and loan sharking,
Yeah.
extortion,
Fun.
bid rigging,
Better.
scrumping,
What the fuck?
illegal chimp fighting rings. There's 2 in there that may be fake. Yeah, I'll let the listeners...
What was the one before? Scrump.
Scrumping is nicking apples, isn't it, in England?
What, the 18th fucking century?
Yeah, I don't...
Get out scrumping!
I think it's only in, like, West Country, like, people that have, like, an apple tree in their garden. He's like, he scrumped me!
He bloody scrumped me!
Jail!
Well, I'm no scrumpy later because my tree's been scrumped.
You scrumped me right up!
You little feck.
So imagine, well, that would be pretty cool if you want to do a campaign where you play Wiseguys doing scrumping. Well, Bill Bailey once made a joke that like theft on a street level is just urban scrumping.
Scrump my wallet right out of my pocket.
Hey boss, we're doing some scrumping. Hey. No, illegal chimp fighting rings is not in the book, but it bloody well should be. Stretch goal, mate.
Yeah. Very good.
But anyway, let's talk about setting rules, because in Savage Worlds, the way a lot of games like to differentiate themselves is by having setting rules, and these are kind of like house rules to the game that alter Savage Worlds a little bit to give it a slight different feel.
That fit in with the game it is, yeah.
For example, in Fallout, you have the radiation.
Sure.
Yeah, so the setting rules in this, they're pretty awesome, and I'll go through a couple of them, because we've got betrayal. Betrayal is like a big thing in gangster settings, right? And as a result, it's a setting rule here, and what it is the defender of a betrayal cannot spend bennies on defensive actions, which means that betrayal is more easy, and it's something you need to be wary of at all times, because you can't spend a benny to re-roll when somebody betrays you. And another one is called the sit down. This is a setting rule in there, and it's if two gangsters have a dispute, and this is how they do it in real life, apparently. Gangsters have a meeting mediated by a third party, sometimes a consigliere.
Consigliere.
And
on neutral ground, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I know about this.
You use the social conflict rules, but margin of success determines the result of what happens. So if you get a tie, it's status quo until further development.
Okay.
So it means things are just going to remain the same. The two gangsters are going to hate each other until something else happens with the beef. Then you got to have another meeting.
Got ya.
1 or 2 means minor compensation. 3 or 4 major. So it's
Wow.
I guess if somebody's nicked money off you, you have to give them some back.
Or someone's killed someone, and I guess you would
off
get
a
a
finger.
life back or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they would be like, what, tit for tat kind of thing. So right, well, you can have one of our
kill
associates.
one of my guys, so you get.
We
you
want
get an
blood.
associate.
Yeah.
Could be something like that. And 5 is full surrender by the opposition.
Oh, wow.
So I guess
They take over.
It could be even that if you've had beef, the other guy has to accept that he's going to be killed now or something.
Yeah.
Let's say, for
there's a
example,
lot of honour with all that, isn't it? It's like, right, you're going to get in the car and go for a drive?
Okay, boss.
Okay, I understand.
But yeah, the dispute, it could be like, because we talked about, how if you insult somebody's mother, then you could get killed.
Your
so
mother.
if you got a 5 on this, it could mean now you've got to accept that that guy, he has to die.
Because you took the piss out the mother?
Yeah.
Now you gotta go.
Oh, Margie's lovely. How could you? You had her brownies.
And now you want to talk to her like that?
Another setting rule is security. Certain areas of the game have negative modifiers based on the security level. So it just means that things are harder to do based on if you're in a real high-tech casino, then you would get, say, a -2 to all rolls.
Oh, if you're trying to cheat or something.
Yeah, or trying to do anything related to crime. That's the way the setting rule works.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. Will there be more police in that area?
Exactly, or there's cameras,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah,
But
got
that's
ya.
the point. And a military base, the book gives this example, would be everything crime related is a -4, and I guarantee you that's
yeah.
probably going to be all actions in there because
All
you're
that.
not in a military base for a good reason.
Especially if you're a gangster.
I'm just taking the tour. What the
I just
hell?
want the alien. That's all I'm after.
I just want the alien.
Just give me the alien.
Give me the alien.
Come on.
Anyway, the best setting rule is friends of ours.
Yeah.
So this is essentially you can get contacts in this game. So to get them, and we'll explain what they do in a second, you need the friend of mine edge, or it can be milestones like completing a certain objective,
Yeah.
or meeting people in play. And how it works is you get a contact, and there are shitloads in the book, 52 I believe, and you get one of these contacts, and then that contact will give you some perk, but not straight away. First of all, you just know them. They're an in-game character. They may help, they may not. But what you've got to do is like keep on being mates with them, doing stuff for them, and it will move them down. You've got the social reactions chart
Yeah.
in Savage Worlds. It'll move them down, and once they get to like friendly or whatever the fuck it is,
Boom.
then you get the perk.
Yeah.
So I'll give a few examples, because there was a Kickstarter level for this book where you could, if you kickstarted enough, you would be one of the contacts.
Hello.
And so the first example I'll give is Nick the Juice Lamley, and he's a loan shark, and he can lend you 5 veteran enforcers. These are like big, hard nut type guys, and they're his debt collectors.
Yeah.
Right? And he can lend them to you for a bit to help you on a mission.
Uh-huh.
So you've suddenly got these 5 big fuckers.
Heavies coming, yeah.
Yeah, heavy's coming in. Another pretty good one is Diamond Jim Harding. He works for the DMV, and he can make a fake identity for you.
Ooh, that's cool.
So you're starting to get a feel for what the type of things are. Mm-hmm. But the best one, of course, is Larry Busey, also known as Crazy Face.
Larry Busey.
And the artwork is so good for Larry Busey. It looks a lot like him, but just enough to avoid copyright.
Just enough. Where is
Yeah,
Larry?
and so basically he's a druggie that got banned from most Hollywood film sets, and he's a nutter, but he can make you recover fatigue by going out partying with him. but if you do it for too long, you end up gaining fatigue.
Of course.
It's
always
such a
the
good
way.
one. And that's kind of the contacts thing. Like, some of them, they're mostly kind of realistic type gangster stuff, and they can give you this perk almost like an adventure card. Like, it will give you something like that, you know, and it's pretty awesome. But I had one when I played one time that was, I see a fortune teller and it gives me an extra Benny because my fortunes are good.
There you go.
Whatever,
Well,
you know,
yeah. No, but it
pretty
happened.
awesome.
Oh yeah, Larry Busey's fantastic.
The artwork, man. I say everyone buy this book just to see that because it's such a great picture. He's got like, you know, those when people get arrested and they have the police department numbers around their neck.
Oh yeah.
He's got that on him.
Mate, it's crazy face. That's
All that,
fantastic.
and the cool thing is a lot of the Kickstarter people, you know, they've got pictures in there, and it's like you think this would be some like real cheap thing where it's like, oh, you've had to ram them in there, you've had to force some, but they're so good.
The effort that's gone into these mugshots is
I
incredible.
like, and he got people to send pictures in, had the artist, you know, draw pictures based on you. And Nick's one is great because he took a really like scummy picture of him in a hoodie, so he really looks like a proper.
That was just after our game, actually. Funny enough, wasn't it?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Don't you remember? We finished up and I was like, right, let's get his mugshot done.
Oh yeah, and James Clark, who used to be on this podcast, he's in there as well. And I didn't make Eric, but I asked Eric to make him a male prostitute.
He looks insane.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, is he called the Chasm?
He's called Cavernous. That's his nickname,
Clark.
James Cavernous Clark, because of his bumhole.
Hold on one sec.
Nice.
A
Red
can
Bull.
of beer.
But yeah, the contacts for me is one of the standout features of this game. It makes you feel like a proper gangster having these people, you know, that you can call up. You can also, I think, spend a Benny to gain. There's the influence the story rule in Savage Worlds, right? Where you can spend a Benny to.
In the new rules, yeah.
Yeah, influence the story in a minor way. And what you can do in this is, if you want to make up a contact and the GM is cool with it, you can spend a Benny, influence the story, and then you can say, oh, I know this guy from blah, blah, blah.
That's cool. It'd have to be good, though.
Well, I gave a guy a contact when I played Tough Guys, the London expansion to this.
Yeah.
And I gave a guy a contact based on an interlude he did, where he did this sick interlude where he's talking about this gangster that he used to roll with. And I was like, right, you get him as a contact, and he can have the abilities you just described. What's the guy's name? And he just went, Steve.
Of course.
He's just got his, like, he told this epic tale about being with this gangster, and it's like, the bloke's name's Steve.
All right, Steve.
Or another example is somebody played Bob the Slob, who's one of the archetypes from Tough Guys.
Yeah.
And he played him in a game. And he did a really, really cool interlude about how he actually adopted this young girl from the streets and found out she was an amazing thief. And I said, okay, you get her as a contact. You can use her at some point during this game. So the contacts can work a couple of ways, but how you meet them and how you come across them can be numerous. But the uses of them are really cool.
And you know it's going to come up a load. Like, you know, if you're playing a game and it always happens, there'll be one bloody NPC that the party can't get enough of for whatever reason.
And they'll latch onto him.
And latch onto him, and before you know it, boom, in this game you can turn him into a contact. So that makes it really
it's
fun.
awesome. And the good thing about these is if you're playing a one-shot, obviously you have to work your way up to get the perk with these contacts.
Yeah.
If you're playing a one-shot, just give them out to your players and just allow them to use the perk there and then.
Out the back, straight away, exactly, and that makes it really good fun. And especially, and also I would say, make the players aware before you go, because if you tell your players that there is a potential for you to be able to recruit contacts throughout your game, they're going to be all over it.
You know what? I'm gutted I didn't back that level.
You sure? I don't know why you didn't.
I don't know why I
You're
didn't.
mad,
I love
man.
this game. Anyway, let's talk about heists.
Yes.
So, heists in this, you could of course do a session where you plan everything out. We like to do that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And you could do an entire session based around a heist. But, for example, when we've played it before, we did a quick heist at the beginning of the game to set up what our characters are like.
Yeah.
It sort of shows your characters, you get to show them off, do your bit in the heist, and it's pretty cool. And the way it's handled in Wiseguys is it uses the dramatic tasks from Savage Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially you lay down 5 cards, whack a negative modifier on it, and then people get to take actions to try and do it.
Yeah.
And club means a complication.
Yeah.
So you do that, but the cool thing about this is you can now do a preparation montage, like in a film, to give you bonuses during the dramatic time.
Amazing.
So how it works is you get like heist tokens, and by all describing what you do. So you go around the table, and for example, you might say, if you're playing Winston, who's a pickpocket and an Elvis impersonator, yeah, you might go, okay, Winston, what are you doing? And I've done this action before when I played him. You could say, okay, we cut back to me outside the security guard's house. I followed him home. I jumped through the window and I took his key card.
Yeah.
And then you snap back, and that's part of the preparation montage. and then you get a heist token, and these can be used during the actual heist to influence the story. So you could be like, you're doing the heist, you spend your heist token, and then you look up at the camera and you see it just go down, and it's like not working for some reason. You just waltz past it, and then it cuts to like the electronics guy outside on a computer.
You're giving him 20 quid, and he's like, "Yeah, I could shut that camera down in 10 minutes."
Exactly,
or whatever.
something like that. So it's pretty cool. So you get to influence the story during the heist, which
Cool.
I just think is such a great use
really cool.
of the dramatic task.
Yeah, and it gives player agency, makes it fun.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like it really well emulates what we've seen in the films.
And the thing is, and precisely that, the very kind of the whole thing of a heist is shit's gonna go wrong. They always do. That's what happens. So giving the players that kind of influence, if you like, A, keeps the GM on his toes, and B, makes for an interesting story.
And it also boils down like a whole night of preparation into about half an hour of game. It's so good.
Yeah, really clever.
Let's talk about character options, mate.
Yes.
So hey, watch out! All right,
Forget about it. Sorry.
So the characters in this game, like the group of the PCs, is known as the crew.
Yeah.
And within this, you have certain roles. Like in like, say for example, a fantasy game, you have the tank, the healer, the DPS, whatever. And in this, you've got like things like cleaner, hit squad, robbers, things like this. But then that's just your role within the party, but the concepts can be anything else. For example, the Elvis impersonator, he's kind of a sneaky guy and a pickpocket, but his archetype would be, I guess, thief, something like that.
Yeah.
But the concepts that the game suggests, just to give you an idea of the type of character you can play in this setting, are burglar, circus acrobat, entertainer, for example, Winston, right, that we've talked about, luchador, street doctor, things like that.
Wicked.
And character creation is exactly the same as Savage Worlds. And basically you get to pick 15 points to put into skills. And it uses the more skill points setting rule. And then you also put points into attributes. So I'm not going to go into it too much, but the big thing is obviously you pick edges and hindrances. And we're going to talk about some of the new ones that you get with the game.
Oh, yeah.
With Wiseguys. So this is a pretty good one, which I can't read my own handwriting. Beholden is a pretty awesome one. Someone done you a favour and you owe them. So you're beholden to them.
Oh.
They might call you up at a really, really inappropriate time. You could be in the middle of a mission. He'd be like, remember when I saved your ass back then? Well, my wife needs a bunch of flowers.
Right now.
So
they gotta be daffodils.
Get down here, you asshole. And you could be like, right, you're literally just about to put the key card in the lock in the casino and you have to leave. Like,
I gotta go. Why?
But you're beholden to someone.
Yeah.
And that's what's pretty cool.
Might be your mum.
It could be. It could be.
You promised.
You promised it was my birthday.
You said you'd never miss it again, and if I call you, you'd take me to the zoo.
That's a good trapping for it, man. It works. There's another one, conspicuous. You attract attention and stick in people's minds, which is pretty fucking cool. So
You might have a gold tooth that everyone sees or whatever.
exactly.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to like you've done something at the scene of the crime, people would have noticed.
I
Your
remember
gold
this
tooth.
one guy. He had a giant forehead. I couldn't stop looking at it.
And then suddenly the police are looking for a guy with a giant forehead.
Nick the
So-
Juice. They're on him.
Yep. There's one, wisecracker, which you're always telling jokes at inopportune moments.
Oh no. Yeah.
It'd be like Daniel.
Think you're funny?
It'd be like Daniel from our Ravenloft campaign that we did on this podcast.
Yeah.
We always told the worst, most heinous jokes. Another one is called Gene.
Gene.
I'm trying to say it with the Italian accent. Cugine. I don't. So, oh my god, my handwriting is so bad. Oh, yeah, you're the youngest guy in the group and you get lumped with the worst tasks.
Oh,
So
yes.
it'd be like in Pulp Fiction when you have to clean the blood off the car. You know when
yeah.
they go and see the wolf, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, you think I'm getting in there doing it? Fuck you. Get in there and do that.
Wipe that shit off.
Yeah, so that I think is awesome.
He's the lackey then, the kid. Yeah.
One of my favourite ones is the usual suspect. Whenever a crime is committed in the city, that you could be completely uninvolved, the cops will come knocking for you.
It's always him.
Yeah, because they just say, where were you on this day? And it's like, I think that's so great.
That's wicked. That's wicked.
It kind of like Beholden. It's going to come up at inopportune moments, right?
Yeah.
It could, and it could be like miles away on the other side of the city, a murder happened, and suddenly you're a suspect.
They're knocking on your door again. It's like, for fuck's sake.
So new edges, right? Which is like not hindrances; they're the opposite. There you go,
Better.
listener.
Yeah.
No, that's sort of wisdom.
Yeah.
Is what you're coming for.
Yeah.
But the main one, of course, is good fella. So you, this means you're a wise guy. You're a made man, right?
one of us.
So you automatically get the streetwise edge, and associates kick money up to you.
Nice.
You also get free suits just
Ooh,
through the
that's
game.
pretty decent.
And restaurant dining is always free.
Nice.
And you can't be murdered by other members of the gang unless given express permission.
Right.
To give some context to this and to tell a kind of funny story, our Wiseguys campaign that we played in. At some point, the main story went away because it all ended up with us.
Because it was us.
Yeah, because it was us. And it all ended up with a big thing about this money. Sean's character was this kind of accountant, gambling type guy.
I got
and,
cool.
Yeah. And he nicked a bunch of money off the boss's cousin, right, who just come to town.
Oh, that's right, yeah, because he took him out betting,
He took him out betting, and the guy had no idea about betting, and Sean did. And so Sean took the guy's grand, bet it on a horse, and then came back and...
I think he gave him $2,000 back and kept 18 for himself or whatever.
No, it was like 3 million. It was a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah.
And essentially the game revolved around us fighting over it over and over and over again.
Hid it in his VHS collection.
Yeah, we ended up at this guy's flat fighting over it, right? And what happened was my character grabbed the money.
Oh my God.
And the wise guy, the made man, Tommy, he was looking at us and he was like, just give me the money, man. You owe it to me. Because it's like one of the rules of being in the mafia is you never hide money, you kick it up and you share it, right? That's
right.
the point.
And then you get paid.
And I specifically wasn't. I was trying to take it and I pulled a gun on a made man. And you never do that. And so it ended up, it was literally just like, you don't even get to roll, you're being executed.
Yeah, you get
and
whacked,
Winston was
mate.
like, can I say one more thing? And then it was like, dead.
Yeah.
So I thought that, and that's like the Goodfella edge. That's what that can kind of do for you.
Great edge.
Yeah, you're one of the bosses of the other PCs, and it sounds like a kind of bad dynamic, but it's really not.
No.
You just muck in and you get involved, and you could just be the sensible guy when it comes to money.
And you're like a de facto leader, and it's like when stuff goes wrong, you kind of remind them who they're working for, and it's wicked. It's really good. It's nice, and it gives that party that little bit of kind of hierarchy where you kind of essentially got a leader, if you like.
Yeah, and if you want to be the voice of reason and the sensible guy in the party, it's a great edge to take.
Yeah, be the good fella.
Other edges, they're really awesome. There's Wheel and Deal, which reduces multi-action penalties by 2 when driving and shooting at the same time.
Yeah, that's cool.
Above the law, this is one of the best ones. You can't be charged for a crime unless caught red-handed. So yeah, it's pretty awesome.
So witnesses don't. So yeah, basically yeah. So there's never a witness because they won't talk or whatever. So unless you're actually caught doing it, the case will never.
It's
come
like
to
the Al
court.
Capone thing. He was eventually charged for what was it, traffic violations.
You're so stupid.
But the amount of crimes he presided over and never got caught for. That's you, man.
Yeah.
You're above the law.
Yeah.
You just don't. So you could be taken to court, but you'll never.
The case will fall apart.
Exactly, and you'll just get out.
Yeah.
So let's have a talk about gear. So new melee weapons, these are pretty cool.
Hey.
So you've got piano wire, nunchucks, shuriken, and a sai, which is like it's like a bat with 2 edges on the end.
Yeah.
It's like a Eastern weapon. I don't know what country it comes from, but there's new special weapons such as Molotovs. And what I like is they've done explosives. And they've been general about it, so it can apply to anything. So you've got improvised explosives and military.
Oh,
and with
excellent.
military, you can add extra charges and make it more damaging,
Cool.
which is awesome. And in the gear, you've got cheating implements. You've got altered dice, which obviously like have
Loaded
more
dice.
3s on them, or they could be loaded. There's a coin yo-yo. So it's like
What
it's
is
like
that?
it's basically it's more complicated than this, but it's like a coin on a string.
Oh, when you put it in the fruity and flick it back out again.
Yeah,
or
so
whatever.
you put it in and keep dragging it back and forth, so the machine gets confused.
Yeah, got ya.
There's one called Monkey Paws. I've never actually heard of this, but you jam it into an opening at the side of the machine, and it sort of confuses the machine and gets it to pay out the jackpot. Which is
that
which
was
is
that
fucking
like
cool.
thing that you make the wishes.
Yeah. Well, that's what I thought. I was like, what the fuck? A monkey paw, and you wish, and you're like, I want the jackpot. No, it's not quite that same thing, but.
It's a rigging tool.
I should point out when we say fruit machine, we mean a slot machine.
Oh
'Cause
god, yeah.
Nobody else calls it that.
What? Oh, because it's fruit on the
'Cause it's
reels.
got fruit,
Yeah. Oh god.
But
Fruity.
the mundane gear in the game includes things like balaclava, chemistry lab, musical instrument case, obviously for hiding a
Of
gun,
course, yeah.
playing cards, police scanners, all this type of stuff.
Yeah.
And which is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And as for vehicles, like all the vehicles are there, all the ones you could want, like SUV, van, limo, whatever.
Cadillac. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all there. The next part is the gazetteer, which is awesome. I'll just give an example of how the gazetteer kind of works, because what it is, it's got this really cool black and white map of each area, and then it breaks each location down into notable locations. And so, for example, let's talk about the Strip, right? The Strip will give like all the different locations, like restaurants, different casinos, whatever. And to give an example, it breaks down one area called the Colossus, which is, you know, sub area within the Strip. And I think that's based on Caesar's Palace. It tells you what the place looks like, what services it offers, and for example, it has the Acropolis, where you can go and see musicals, the Hephaestus Grill, which serves Mediterranean food, and Bacchanal, an exclusive nightclub, and it's the most decadent one in all of Vegas.
Ooh.
And it's at the top of the statue.
It's like the Ivy of Mayfair or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I got you.
And that club is on the top of the statue, and that's what the Colossus takes its name from, this giant Greek
cool.
statue.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but the cool thing is each location and the big sub-locations, they have rumours and adventure seeds for those specific locations, which is awesome.
Yeah.
In the Colossus, one of the adventure seeds is a wise guy working at the Colossus organises old-school pugilist matches in the ring at night. Only select people get an invite to these private events.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool.
Go do some jousting.
Yeah, so, I don't know if it's... Actually, it might be.
No, pugil stick, isn't that?
No,
gladiators.
pugilism is like fighting with your fists.
Oh, is it? Oh, right.
But, you know, it very well could be, because actually they do put on medieval-type fights in the Colossus. So
Wicked.
he's getting all the weapons and going out at night.
It's got like a gladiator thing going on where people actually do get killed.
a private gladiator thing.
Yeah.
Man, well, you see, it's cool like that. Like,
Yeah.
the whole area has like... everything that you can find in a casino, that could be an adventure location in and of itself.
Yeah.
And as a result, it fleshes it out with proper fucking like adventure
I love that
scenes.
and I love that it's like little rumours, you know, so they can turn into anything you want.
Well,
you know?
exactly. I mean, we just made it completely stupid, but you
Yeah.
could do that if you wanted to.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it gives you that idea, and I loved it. I love the whole
Clever.
thing for that. It's so useful.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. Maximising usability.
Rather than just being like a bunch of...
It's
here's
a
a
casino.
description.
I don't know. It's got fruit machines and it's got what are they called? Slot machines.
Yeah, that's what we say in England. Whenever you go to the... like a pub, there's always a fruity there.
Fruity.
Going on a fruity. And
And you always had one mate that was always addicted to it, so you'd be like, "Where's Paul?" But he's on a fruity.
Yeah. There's always that guy that takes...
Pumping pounds in. I want the jackpot.
And the good thing is, because in England, because we've always got a pint in our hand,
Yeah.
the fruities, they always have a little shelf next
your
to them,
beer on
because
it.
you can put your beer on it.
Yeah.
I said to, because I was writing, me, you, and Owen have been writing Tough Guys,
Yeah.
the London expansion for Wiseguys, and I put in a little table in there, which is like common improvised weapons during like pub fights and things like this, and one of the things was I said, for a large improvised weapon, a quiz machine or a fruit machine. And Eric was like, what the fuck is a fruit machine?
He didn't know.
Yeah, so obviously I had
It's a machine that serves bananas.
yeah, in a pub, just in case you're getting a bit low on your
Load your
potassium.
bits. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like that's like the classic, isn't it? Tipping over the fruity on
Oh
somebody.
mate, but that was when you remember the quiz machine came in. It like changed the world.
So-
if you were like that age in the early 2000s.
For those that don't know, the quiz machines in pubs, you put a £1 or £2 in, and then if you get enough questions right, you can win money.
Win money back,
And
yeah.
it gets really hard after about 10 minutes.
Yep.
Like, you'll be like, I'm winning, I'm going to get the money. And then it's suddenly like, who was the Emperor of Russia in 1855? And you're like, what?
the fuck? Yeah.
But there was a couple of guys, it was reported in a few newspapers, that bought a quiz machine for their own home, pretending to be a business, and learn every answer, and would go around to pubs cleaning them out.
Nice.
And they made like something like 25 grand.
so smart.
Yeah, it's so clever, isn't it?
Oh, what a good idea.
But eventually they got banned from almost every pub
Yeah,
in
you
London.
don't get them anymore. They were fantastic machines.
There's in our local, man, in the Sun down the road, they've got like 3 fucking quiz machines. They've got the deal or no deal
Of course
one.
they have. That's the dodgy
Yeah.
pub.
Yeah.
You
Anyway,
never win any of them.
back onto the game. So there's a section in the book called The Players, and it's confusingly not about the players.
Okay.
It's about the players.
The players within the
within the whole scene, yeah.
Gotcha.
So it goes into like law enforcement, where you've got the DEA, the
Mm-hmm.
FBI, the Nevada Gaming Commission, and then it's got all these crime syndicates, right? And all of these things are really well fleshed out with, like, you know, the big players in their gangs, what they do, how they operate, the type of crimes they do. You've got drug cartels, outlaw motorcycle gangs, the Sicilian mafia, the Bratva, the Russian mob, and of course triads and yakuza, which is fucking awesome. But the cool thing is, you don't like any of these. Well, you're an idiot. But if you don't, there's a street gang generator.
There you
so
go.
it's a couple of pages, and you can make
your own
one up.
I thought you said Bratverse then. I was like, well, they the sausage mafia.
Yeah, they deal a lot in sausage-based crimes. They'll stab you with a sausage,
Or
but like a
steal-
frozen one. No, they'll beat you with it, like a club.
Oh, they steal your sausage.
So the street gang generator. So basically what happens is you draw cards and it creates a gang. But the cool thing is that there's one thing that really made me laugh, because all of the gangs you can pull a card for a distinctive custom that they do, and there's one like membership is restricted to virgins, only operates at night. Carries a picture of a religious figure at all times, or collects trophies from victims, leaves a signature behind, only commits crimes on a full moon. That's another one. So it's like, the gangsters are like, what's that? The werewolves are in town. Woo! And it's just a bunch of guys going, woo!
And the moon. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and you can like draw what their focus is. So it could be wet work, fraud, trafficking, hijacking, kidnapping.
What's wet work again?
Moidas. Moidas. And they've got like a tell as well, so they could have a distinctive clothing, accessories, things like this.
They might all have an insignia branded onto their hand.
Absolutely,
if they're a bit culty or whatever. Yeah, that's cool.
It's a really, really cool little thing.
My main goal is to blow up and then act like I don't know nobody.
Anyway, there's a part on how to run the game, which is pretty awesome. And then there is 2 adventures.
Yeah.
One of which is Fugazi, which I've played before, and I can't remember, but it's about a fake something or other. But I remember it being really fun. Yeah. My memory is terrible. But the other one is The Hills Have Knives, and I do remember this.
Great pun.
This is awesome. Like it starts off, at least in the version I played, with you. You can see that there's some police turning up, and one of your bosses, like, main dudes is turning up at this diner, and he's covered in blood, and you're like, shit, we got to get him out of there. And it's like, anyway, the adventure culminates. I won't ruin the plot, but it culminates in you going out into like hillbilly country, and there's all these like deformed ancestral.
You've seen the film, you know what's going on.
It was exactly like that, like in the middle of the desert, and this like old woman comes out with her 2 pet panthers. There's people jumping out of boots with Uzis. A monster truck comes out of like a shed.
Of course, yeah.
It's
moonshine,
it was
grenades.
amazing. So
Brilliant.
yeah, it's not all serious. Just this was like pure adventure, proper killing. Like it was awesome. Yeah, and the book finishes with some more helpful tables.
Of course.
There's a random fact table.
Fact table.
No, sorry, that's wrong. There's a random faction table.
I was going to say random fact. Did you know?
Random contact table. So you
cool.
could have Bald Brad, Dan the Clockmaker,
Man.
Lorenzo the Boxman Scarnatia. So this is actually the contacts from the book.
Yeah.
Right.
So rather than picking one out, you can just do a random
one. So you pull a card, and it's the value and the bloody suit.
The suit in it.
And then the bloody suit, and then you have one of the contacts.
Yeah.
That's what is 52. There's a random nickname generator as well, which is pretty cool.
That's cool.
So you've got Digger, Dime Bag, Cough Drop. This one's awesome. 3-Finger Brown. Ooh. Random location table, so it could be a bunch of locations from the game.
That's cool.
And then you've got an index, and let me tell you, it's a great index.
Oh, thank God! Because a lot of that can make or break a game.
I hate a bad index.
So
man.
do I.
Yeah,
and there's so many out there, surprisingly.
The very last thing we got to talk about is obviously the presentation. Ooh. It is top fucking notch.
It's delicious.
For a third-party company, they've done a job better than a lot of what Pinnacle do.
Oh, hands down. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
I mean, they had some big boys working on this, like Carl Kiesler. Mornay Sharp is great with layouts, and it looks gorgeous. But the artwork is just spectacular.
No expense has been spared with this book.
Exactly. That's what's cool. One of my favourite pieces of artwork is from early on in the book, and obviously I'm not going to be able to find it now.
The comic strip.
Yeah, page 14.
Oh,
it's got this
mate.
really cool comic strip where they've just taken this guy out for a nice meal, and then they assassinate him in the car, and the artwork is just spectacular.
It's cracking. Yeah.
It's crazy. Like you say, no expense has been spared. It is beautiful.
Yeah.
Treat yourself and get the bloody hardcover, because it's so fucking good.
It's so worth it.
So,
it's fat as well.
Actually, for one of the games that we just review, a book and something like this, and try and see if it's decent, worth playing. Read it so you don't have to. But in this case, this is one we've played quite rigorously.
We've played quite a lot. Yeah, we've played it, but we was playing it way before it even got to this point.
We played like the early version.
Early version of it. Yeah.
Overall, what do you make of it then?
I think it's mate. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I love that. I've always been a big fan of random generation. I think anything that makes the GM's life a little bit easier on the fly is always welcomed. It's just so extensive. That's the beauty of it. And it's not just brushed over areas. Every single section of this book's had vigorous detail put into it,
and in a useful fashion.
That's what's Eric so cool. knows what a GM needs,
and he's done it so well.
And he's done it so
well. The thing about it is, it's it's known as a gangster toolkit, but it is also a setting.
It's anything.
So the thing is, you could use this to base a gangster game in any town.
Yep.
But then you could just take one of the casinos from the game and the adventure hooks that go with it and put it in that town.
Yeah, of course.
That's what's so useful about the whole thing. And to demonstrate this, there's a couple of adventures that are in entirely different settings. There's a fantasy adventure that came out for this. There's a Saga of the Goblin.
That's what I'm saying. I bet you can take this framework and apply it to any kind of setting you wanted to.
Yeah, the mechanics, because the Saga of the Goblin Horde one is called the Gobfather.
The Gobfather,
of course.
You could do sci-fi with this. It could be space gangsters.
Easily. And that's why it's a toolkit, but the setting that it comes with is super fun to play with.
New Vegas.
To me, I was thinking about this the other day, and I really think that when you think of a quintessential modern setting, or modernish setting for RPGs, there really isn't one.
No.
Probably Call of Cthulhu Modern, but what people prefer is to play in the 1920s.
They do, yeah.
And as a result, I think Wiseguys should be the quintessential modern setting, and especially for Savage Worlds, this at the moment is to me the flagship product.
I was just about to say flagship. So this is quite literally Savage Worlds' flagship modern setting game.
It is. Yeah. It really is, and
it's so
it uses the mechanics of Savage Worlds, the cards, poker things, and it all fits in so well. So it's to me, it's perfect.
Pinnacle missed the trick here.
They really did. They really did. They should have, as soon as that idea was coming out, they should have bought it off Eric.
Big time. Oh well.
You snooze, you lose. You're engulfed.
Never mind. But no, well done, Eric, because you've absolutely nailed it here.
Yeah, bravo. Yeah. Anyone listening, go and buy this. It's so worth the money.
Do yourself a favour. Yeah, it really is.
I just wanted to talk briefly as well about Tough Guys, because that's coming out soon. So there'll be a little expansion to this. It was a Kickstarter stretch goal. Nick and I and a mate of ours, Owen, ended up writing Tough Guys, and it is shaping up to be really, really fucking good. Yeah. And I know you can't say that about your own thing, but I basically have jumped off of everything Eric's did, so by virtue of that, it's quite good.
Exactly, because Eric made a really good book, he's helped us make a really good supplement.
Yeah, and it's pretty good. It's got a new plot generator in there. You've got
much in the same vein of that book, really, isn't it? There's
exactly.
a lot of similar stuff, a lot of helpful tools.
Just imagine this, but in London, and it's got the archetypes and stuff like this. So it's pretty. It's going to be pretty good. And so if you want to play something set in London and
suburbia of London,
So pick it up and pick up Wiseguys and make sure you do. And we want evidence. We want people to show us pictures of them holding the book.
Oh, we want to see it. What's the price point?
I can't remember.
I think it's about 30 quid for the hardback.
Something like that, yeah. It's well priced anyway.
Yeah,
but
it's very
so we want nude pictures. Pictures
of you wearing the book.
Yes, please. Covering the genitals. All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
Bye. So this is Jim Bim Salabim.
Yes.
And this comes from the fact that at our table we have a lot of stupid terms that only we say. And one of those is Jim Bim Salabim.
Yeah.
And I won't bother going into what it means. But the point is, this segment is where I'm going to give you terms from RPGs, and you have to try and guess if it's a real one or if it's a Jim Bim Salabim.
Okay.
And this time, thanks to the magic of Wiseguys, in there it has a mob speak thing.
Yeah.
So it's all gangster terms.
Yeah.
And you have to tell me, are these made up, or are these a Jim Bim Salabim, or are they real?
Okay.
So the first one, Shylock.
Oh, I know this. I know what Shylock is.
Is it real?
Yeah, that's real, yeah.
Okay, so that's a loan shark. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Next one, Babbo.
Babbo?
Mm-hmm.
Not Bambino?
Not Bambino, Babbo.
I reckon that's a Jim Bim Salabim.
It isn't. That's a real one. Wrong. It means either like a useless guy or an idiot.
Yeah, Babbo!
Hey, you fucking Babbo.
Get out of here.
Okay, Gringle Bungle.
That's you, all day long.
Of course. I had to put one in there.
I know your style too much.
Right, Monster Cheese.
Jim Bim Salabim.
No, that's
Shut up.
It's real. It's real, and it's what the gangsters, because they're a lot of times a bit stupid. It means Munster cheese, which is like a type of American cheese.
Okay.
So that's what monster cheese means. All right, next one, college cheese.
For fuck's sake. Jim Bim Salabim.
No, that's real. It's real as well. It's what they call cottage cheese.
College cheese. For fuck's sake.
All right, next one. Some of these are expressions as well. So the next one is smelling roses from the underneath.
It's a bit poetic. That means to die. I'm gonna say it's real.
It isn't, but
It's
it was sort of a tricky one. It's not. I didn't actually make it up. It's a real saying, but it's a Hungarian saying for being dead.
It sounds quite like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, because it's like a mistranslation.
one would
kind
smell
of
the roses from underneath.
So next up, mercy room.
Mercy room. That sounds horrible. Real.
It is real. It means it's what they call the emergency room. I know. It's like it's so retarded. Oh god.
Go on.
All right, Kavon.
Caval. That's real.
Yep, it's
Yeah.
an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment to himself or others. It's actually Cavone, but Cavone is the slang term.
You're being a Cavone.
You goddamn Cavone. Next one, a total potato.
Total potato.
Total potato.
Jim Bim Salabim.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not real. I just tried to make something as
Total potato.
Italian sounding as I could. That's like genuinely going to be racist. That's a joke that's not going to age well.
No, like soured milk.
The final one is bunch of crackers.
Was that a bit of a racist slur?
You have to give your answer first.
Bim Jim Salabim.
No, that's real. It means $1,000.
Oh right, bunch of I thought it was like, isn't cracker like a word for a white
I guess that
person?
is another slang word. It could just be a bunch of white guys hanging around outside.
Hey.
Hey, it's a bunch of crackers. What, 1,000 grand?
No.
No, it's just a bunch of white guys. So well done. I don't know how much you scored, but I think you did good.
Oh, nice.
I think you did nice.
You got a nice.
Right, let's move on to a new segment.
Well, the Penguins have made it, and they're going up against the Golden Knight.
The name game.
We couldn't come up with a better title.
So work in progress title there. So the name game is, these are all game titles from games that I found on Drive-Thru RPG, and Harrison has to, from the name only, try and figure out what this game is.
Brilliant.
Let's start. Okay, and the first one is Band of Blades.
I think Band of Blades is a game about fantasy game about assassinating people.
No.
Oh.
No, it's about a band of music people that play scissors. No, I'm joking.
I genuinely thought that's
No.
play the scissors.
No, Band of Blades is a dark military fantasy where you play a army of legionaries.
I don't know.
Oh, whatever. That are fighting against an army of the undead. Which is pretty cool.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, sounds fun.
You know what? Because the band of, I did think it was going to be military for a second, but I don't know why I didn't say that.
No.
I'm a moron.
You're a moron.
Thanks.
So that was good. So that sounds fun. Right, next one, Changeling, the Lost Second Edition.
Oh, I know what this is, because it was a White Wolf product, and it's about shapeshifters.
No,
What?
someone else.
What?
This one is you play a human who was abducted by the Fae.
I guess I actually thought I knew what Changeling was, and I don't. At all.
Apparently, yeah.
That's embarrassing.
I think you play a human you've been abducted abducted by the Fae, and you live in the fairyland, and you're trying to get out of there.
Do you not become a shapeshifter?
Not that I'm aware of, no. But to be fair, I did just kind of browse over the.
Right, I'm gonna
check it out.
This.
So check out Changeling: The Lost Second Edition.
Changeling. Human beings unknowingly coexist with legendary monsters. The changelings of the title are ordinary human beings who are kidnapped by the Fae and taken as slaves into their world. The player characters are changelings who have managed to escape their otherworldly captors, struggle through the barrier.
So maybe they
try
do
to
become
cope with the
changed into-
metamorphosis they have undergone. So,
Okay. So they do get changed in the Fae.
Yeah.
And then they come back and have to try and live normal lives.
normal life. So they go over there, and then they've got like a horn on their head.
And then you've got to try and do like a mundane office job. Good.
All right, cool.
There you go. Right, next one, Electric Sheep.
Oh, okay. Hello. So I think this is a dystopian sci-fi setting.
Yes, well done. A cyberpunk shadow operative, cyber nature, sci-fi, urban fantasy game.
That's a lot of adjectives.
Yeah, there you go.
Got one.
Well done. This one, this one's title. I like the title, but I don't know whether they just tried to make it a kind. I don't know. Anyway, Menagerie of Exiles.
Menagerie of Exiles. Well, this is going to be a fantasy horror game where people are exiled to an island in order to fend for themselves, but there's horrible monsters.
Close. It's a Lamentations of the Flame Princess game where you travel with pirates to find treasure and fight fell beasts.
Okay. Oh, because they've been exiled because they're bad pirates.
They're pirates. Yeah. Very good. Right, next one, Arcadia.
Oh, that's it.
It's just called Arcadia. Yep.
Okay. Judging by the title alone, right, I think it's a game where crimes are solved by jumping into arcade games.
Rubbish. It's a D&D 5th edition inspired by the history of myths of ancient Greece.
Well, that shows how much I was paying attention in history class.
Yeah, so there you go.
Sorry,
That's that.
everyone.
Next, Age of Snakes.
Wow. That's a good one. I'm going to go with, and this is what it should be, right? It's like Mouse Guard, but you're all snakes in little armour with little hands, and you wield swords.
Not too far off.
Oh.
Right, it's an ICRPG supplement, and King Henrik has fallen. This sets off a chain reaction of events across all of Athheim that gives rise to the Snake Men once more, and giving power to Bast, the ruthless successor to the snake god mastermind Set. Bast controls the minds of all snake men and uses them to topple one region after another.
Sounds cracking.
Does sound pretty good.
I'm up for that. Snake Men.
Got one more. Ready?
I'm ready.
Beckett's Jihad Diary.
Oh dear. Well, that's a name and a half.
No, sorry. Let me re-say that. Let's cut that bit.
Okay.
Beckett's Jihad Diary.
Okay, so it's not Jihad Diary.
It's got a Y in it, not an I.
Wow. They must know that. Oh, God. I don't know. Beckett's Jihad Diary. What? That could be anything.
Yeah.
I think it is about a man called Beckett who accidentally misunderstood the Quran and did something terrible, and now the world is trying to
Fix it.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, let's read it. So, it's ever been a loaded word among vampires. Jihad is in force everywhere, from lofty perfumed Elysium to cloying smoke-filled blood feasts. Jihad's the eternal game played by elders, maleficence and worse. It's the agenda of being so utterly beyond humanity, one such as yourself could scarcely understand its movements. It's basically a Vampire the Masquerade game.
Well, actually, Jihad is a thing. I know it's spelled differently, but
From
Jihad
Vampire.
is a thing in Vampire.
That's it then, yeah.
If you remember the ages and ages and ages ago, there was that video that Spoonie released where he'd done a Jihad on a on a church,
yeah.
on a LARP.
Yeah. It says, luckily for you, you've picked up a copy of my diary. With my help, you may just take a step on the first rung of understanding. So yeah, so there's.
Why did they call him Beckett though? That's such a terrible
Beckett's
name
Diary,
for a cool ass vampire.
No idea.
But anyway, that was a cool segment.
There you go.
I want to play that Age of Snake Man.
Yeah, so do I. That was
Age of Snakes.
That sounds fun, and yeah, Electric Sheep sounds alright.
It does.
So that was a fun segment.
Yeah, it was. We'll do that again.
Do it again.
Right. So next up, we're going to do some electro letters.
Wait.
In the future, you will be able to send a letter or parcel from anywhere on the planet. This, sir, is the electro letter.
So this time on Electro Letters we asked for, because on our previous one we asked for the stupidest moves you've ever seen somebody do, and because we're talking about the coolest game in the world, Wiseguys, we asked for the coolest moves you've ever seen somebody do in an RPG, and the first one comes from Dem Drunk Blokes.
Oh yeah, the boys.
And he says, this great podcast, they say they were playing Whacked in the Wicket, and after Dickie Fulford was battered by an obnoxious polo player, Tarquin Poddlesworth, played by my missus, kills all the members of the polo club with a cricket bat to the war cry of "Nobody touches my Dickie."
Yes!
I love exploding dice. So obviously he did like a miracle shot with a bat on
And
these
wiped
polo.
out a whole polo team. That's one of our twists in the game, Whacked in the Wicket, where a bunch of polo players turn up who are still bitter and angry for having their basically their clubhouse repossessed by the cricket club.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a game that we wrote actually. An adventure.
Yeah.
And I always love hearing people who haven't played it.
oh, me too.
Well, another one I wrote by myself, Punted in the Bonds.
Yes.
I remember hearing, because this was actually a kind of gangster-ish tale,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
gangster-adjacent tale. for Savage Worlds, and I heard of somebody once playing it and adding a magic priest in there, like he had spellcasting ability. And I was like, fuck it,
Why not? Yeah, that's awesome.
Next one comes in from Sam Riviera. He says, a while ago, a pal of mine playing a wizard in a Hackmaster game I ran cast a cloud of fog spell on some lizard men, then the next round cast shocking grasp on the fog bank. The entire table was like, oh! So I let the lizard men get shocked by the spell. There was a lot, and it wasn't enough to kill them, but it was just enough to soften them up so the fighters could take them down. It was a cool combo, and we still like to talk about it.
Awesome.
That is fucking genius.
That is awesome.
That's a great idea.
That's a really good move.
I love the fact that, like, as soon as the fog clears, all the fighters just come in wading with their swords, and they're like, oh, thank God that's over. Ah!
Oh no!
Chad Ward, he comes in with one. He says, I ran Herald, Lovecraft, and Tesla, the tabletop RPG, for a one-shot.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah, it's for Savage
Looks
Worlds,
cool.
I think.
Yeah, I've seen that game.
In the climactic scene, Eleanor Roosevelt laid down suppressive fire with a Thompson machine gun while Robert E. Howard sprinted forward the reanimated pharaoh to prevent him from releasing the elder gods. Salvador Dali, in an amazing support role, used his mustache wax to grease up his umbrella, tossing it to Robert E. Howard so he could surf the length of the meatpacking plant, while Harry Houdini threw him the idol he needed to stop the ritual. Mustache wax on an umbrella for a surfing role in a Chicago meatpacking plant is about the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen in an RPG.
That is fucking cool.
Suddenly my interest in this game's gone
Make
right
that
up.
into a film. Edgar Allan Poe pops up and goes, yo, what's up?
Yo, what's up? You need some suppressive fire? Man, I wasn't that interested in that game. And now I am. Like,
yeah,
massively.
me too. We'll check that out.
I love that Robert E. Howard was in the mix.
Oh, man, that's so cool.
Amazing. Timothy E. Peer, he comes in. He says, in a game of Warhammer Fantasy RPG 2nd Edition, I was running for a friend of mine. He spelt it wrong.
Friend, yeah, yes, it is. For a friend of mine.
A friend of mine was playing a halfling cook.
Ah, excellent.
After their first adventure, they stopped in a tavern in Marienburg called the Pig Witch's Tit. It was a den of pirates, mercenaries, and people who just wanted a hot pork sandwich.
Is that a euphemism?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, me and my wife done a hot pork sandwich the other day.
Can't
Filthy.
walk.
The owner was an ex-Empire soldier who had adopted a female ogre as his daughter, who's the cook of the pub. Being a friendly sort and the natural like the two species have for one another, the halfling ended up with a 9-foot, 600-pound admirer that could crush a man's skull with her hands. Love is found in strange ways. As the night progressed, drinks were had, and soon everyone was drunk, even the troll slayer, who had a titanic consume alcohol of 55%. I don't recall the details of why the bar brawl broke out, but I do remember the shining moment where the halfling was riding in his love's apron pocket, and with a mighty blow of his heirloom battle ladle, he castrated a man who was attempting to brain the party rat catcher with his peg leg.
Trying to brain the rat catcher. That's brilliant.
That is awesome. I love the fact he was riding around in the apron.
Of the fucking massive monster. Yeah, that's wicked.
Well,
Very good.
Richard Woolcock came up with an amazing thing for Savage Worlds once that was like the min-max, like broken build that you could do.
Yeah.
And it was something like, because halflings get an extra Benny, luck you get an extra Benny, great luck you get an extra Benny, and then common bond you can give them to someone else. So he was saying one of the best builds you can possibly do is to have a halfling with no legs and no arms that you carry around on your back, and just call him. He's called Benny, and he just he just dispenses them for you. I don't know why that reminded me of it, but it was just because he was carrying them on his back, I think.
Very good.
Lewis Pineda comes in with one that is unbelievably long, so just strap in.
Yeah.
This was in a Savage Star Wars game last year when we were playing morally grey outlaws / mercenaries.
Yeah.
The rebels were having us run missions that were putting us in danger of being captured by the Empire and then withholding payment. One player was a mechanical and electronic tech keeping our ship flying. At the beginning of the session, he asked the GM if he could make a repair roll to make a signal beacon. GM approves it without asking why. Player proceeds to roll multiple raises, then hands an index card face down to the GM and tells him he can turn it over later.
Ooh.
Story starts out with the team being brought to the rebels to get our payment. We meet up with a colonel and his second in command. Colonel was respectful, but his XO was always rude to us, and so my character would backhand him upon greeting him with an opposed agility check. So, we show up to get payment at the secret rebels base, and the XO meets us alone and tells us he's withholding payment again until we run a hijacking mission against the shipment of hyperdrive engines being transported by the Empire. Tech player asked the GM to turn over the index card he handed over earlier. It was a locator beacon with a signal that's used specifically for when a rebel base is discovered by Empire spies. We got our payment, accepted the mission, watched as the rebels had to evacuate, and then accepted the mission after backhanding the XO again. The beacon move was so smooth and so perfectly played, I don't think it could have been done any better.
What a player!
That is fucking awesome.
I like the way he kind of shook the GM by handing the card over and being like, "You can turn it over later." I bet the GM was like, "Oh fuck, what's he done?"
That is totally awesome.
Very good.
But yeah, I love those types of moves. I've never seen one in one of my games, but it was like.
What, a mega premeditated move?
Yeah, when you just go, look, we're going to need this later. And obviously, because this guy was dicking him over so much and withholding payment, he knew he was going to need it.
That's it, exactly.
But, like, I've seen people do moves like that before, but I've never in a game that I've been in, and I'd love to be smart enough to do something.
No, all we ever do is somehow manage to pick up the contact card every time in Savage Worlds and then just constantly use that to bring the same fucking character back every single time.
We did once play a game, and I won't reference this guy by name, but we did once play a game where we knew the GM was cheating, like every week. And yes, some people say GMs can't cheat, but he was fudging in the most obvious way possible, doing things that aren't possible within the game, and things like this. And it was funny because there was a point where his guy tried to run away, and I said, "Hang on, shouldn't we be in initiative if combat started? Like we've hit him and he's trying to leg it. Like shouldn't we be in initiative?" He goes, "Yep, fine." And I just put on my on a little index card, I put that his character was going to go first. And I rolled initiative, and I'm like 25, and he's like. And then he goes, "Okay, my guy's going first," and I'm like, "What?" yeah. And I just showed it to Nick. I showed him this little index card, just saying, insert name here will go first. And then, believe it or not, they did. What happened?
Weird.
Yeah,
still
that
one
was
though.
funny as hell. So, what were the coolest moves you've seen in an RPG?
Oh God, there's been a few.
I remember one in particular that during Solomon Kane that I found pretty funny. There was one where Ryan, one of our characters, he fought with a hook on a chain. That was his whole thing. And we were in this like really quite big house. And he stabbed it through a guy and then wanted to swing the guy on the end of his chain to try and hit people with it like a giant thing. And I was like, look, that's crazy, but you're going to need at least like 2 razors.
Oh, that was the man kebab, wasn't it?
Yeah, the man kebab. And he got like 2 razors, and his weapon, the way it worked is if he got a raise, he could either do the bonus damage or somebody gets hooked on.
Yeah.
So he got razors after razors after razors on his strength roll, was swinging him around his head, and then he had to do his attack rolls, and he got razors and razors, and he's like, right, another one gets pierced on the end.
Yeah.
And he just ended up with this giant kebab of people.
And it ended up being like a giant improved weapon, didn't it? Improvised weapon, didn't it?
We had to make a new rule for giant improvised weapon. It was insane. There was one another one I wanted to share was one I think I might have mentioned this on the podcast before, but during my Tough Guys game, the expansion for Wiseguys, it was really funny because this one guy was playing the football hooligan, and he was really, really tough and really good at fighting. That's what he does.
Yeah.
And they're on the top of this like warehouse. Well, they're on the top of a building adjacent to the warehouse, like scoping out the courtyard in the warehouse. And the football hooligan says, "Right, I'm going to frog splash onto that bloke down there." And he jumps off the roof, misses entirely, but he gets up and it takes no damage because of his toughness. I rolled damage,
nice.
and it was just like 1 for the damage. So then we draw initiative, and it's his turn straight away. Ooh. So he frog splashes onto the floor off like 20-foot, like 40-foot fucking building.
Yeah.
Survives it, gets up, and then clotheslines the bloke's head off. And then because I literally said, because he did so well on the damage, I said narrate the kill, and he went, "I'll clothesline his fucking head off," and I'm like sick. And then he goes, I go, right, the whole round happens, and then his turn comes up again, and he goes, okay, I'm going to pick up that dead body, I'm going to smack the other guy with it, and he kills the other guy in one hit with it.
Mate.
And I was like, okay, narrate the kill, and he's like, I smack him in half.
I'll smack him in half. Oh, actually, one spring to mind. It's my own character, which is a bit lame. But do you remember when Roland played Russian roulette with the devil and won?
That was pretty
and
good.
it was the most mental rolling ever because I had a 1 in 5 chance of getting it, and I did.
It was during this Planescape sub-campaign, yeah. And it was like, we played Russian roulette, and I literally wrote down a number on a piece of paper as to which chamber had the bullet in, and then we rolled dice. And it wasn't a... the devil, but it was kind of like a devil, and it was Charon from Pathfinder, one of the gods.
Yeah.
And basically, this guy, he's a god, but he loves a challenge.
Yes, yeah.
And so when Ronan challenged him to Russian roulette, and won. It was epic. We were rolling dice, and the
Mate.
tension was
It was
crazy.
just me, wasn't it? And then everybody else was just sat around, and I was just rolling. It was at my house,
Yeah,
I remember,
yeah.
and we just erupted, man. I can't believe it. I think we filmed it, actually, yeah.
Yeah, no, Ryan filmed it, and there's a bit where one of our players at the table, he says, Nick saved us, right? That was the thing, because Roland basically came up, Roland came up, Nick's character, and he was like, look, I'll play you at Russian roulette, and if we win, you reverse everything that's happened in these previous chambers.
Yeah.
And he did it.
Fucking
but anyway,
done it.
at the end, when we recorded that video, Ryan is so thrilled. He goes, Nick saved us! Like that. And when you play it back, it's like, it's the most, like,
Cringeworthy
pansy thing you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's like, he looked so lame at that moment.
But happy, bless him.
Yeah, it was a great moment, man.
It was a great moment.
Awesome.
That was probably one of my favourite personal moves.
Yeah. That was
but there's
awesome.
loads, man. I mean, another one for me was the whole fight scene with the vampires on top of the wagons. I thought that was incredible.
That was great, man.
Yeah.
A lot
There
of
was a lot
badass
of jumping
moves got pulled.
across and people getting knocked off.
It's
and
more of a
stuff.
cool scene rather than, but like a lot of people did do cool moves.
Yeah,
but it's a 4E adventure that I adapted to Savage Worlds called Dusk. That's really, really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
A bit dated because it is literally about Twilight. The movie.
No, but it's cracking though. It's like a bunch of vampires that are doing a production. Check it out. It's hilarious.
It's just basically Twilight happens.
Yeah,
but it's a play.
Yeah.
And it turns out that some of the vampires in the production are real vampires.
Real vampires. Yeah, it's very good.
It's great. Okay, so that's it for Electro Letters. Thank you very much for sending your bloody letters in. They were
love 'em.
awesome.
Yeah.
We love them. There was one in there that was a little bit too long, so we had to cut out. You know who you are.
Sods.
Shorten them, but also soz.
I like how the calibre of our kind of questions and letters has got better over the years.
It's gone way up.
Do you remember back in the days? I think some of our first questions were like so stupid.
Well, it was when because I like asking these questions and hearing the listeners like really cool perspective on things and their awesome stories and things like this.
Yeah.
And that's what I like doing. But back in the day, we'd be like,
Ask us something.
Ask us something. Send us your questions. And it would always
Anything.
be like, what's your favourite sandwich?
Do you like poo?
Yeah, it was always things like that. And it was like now the good listeners are sending the message in, but
Yeah.
the bad ones.
The bat, you know you are.
You know you are. Don't do it again. Right, that's it for. Let's do an outro.
Let's do contact details.
Interesting. The Penguins have outflanked the Golden Knight. They're pushing in with a rear attack. He has now caught both sides. Classic pincer manoeuvre, just the way the World War II soldiers were done in.
So, hello everyone.
Hello.
We're here in the contact details
Department.
and we got some for you. Let me just.
Can we just get a double crunch on that?
Yep. Give me a minute here.
Oh, do you remember Podbot?
Oh god, that was so stupid back when this podcast started, and we used to have all those characters coming in all the time, like the Patreon Highwayman,
Knocking on the door.
Podbot was so bad.
Podbot was bad. Oh my god, it was all terrible.
Adam Rickman. Yeah. Anyway,
Podbot.
here's the contact details: 3trpgpod@gmail.com,
Yeah.
and we're on the social media, aren't we, Podbot? So go on any social media. We're on there.
Search us, you'll find us.
But if you want to chuck us a buck and
Ooh.
donate to our Patreon, please do.
Please
and also, don't forget to share the show with a mate. We don't pay for any expensive marketing, despite how
what you might think.
yeah. So
yeah.
get out there, share it with a mate.
Spread the good word.
Post it in the comments section of porn videos.
Please do.
it's not like
oh
that.
my god, have you seen that? Comments on
On Reddit.
of what's the like I don't know what's it called the Pornhub.
Yes.
Pornhub comments. It's so bad.
It's really weird. Like it's really weird. Like some people will be like talking about their day.
Or one of them was like, I laughed so hard I couldn't nut. So bad.
Oh, I love those.
It's disgusting. But and if you've got any recommendations, thing you'd like to see, we're always feedback.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's it for another episode. I've been Harrison Hunt.
I've been Nick Lamb Slicey.
And remember that D20s are cool, but 20Ds, that's a good time. See you later, everyone.
Bye.
Podbot, say bye.
So shit. So bad.